Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Hangar Control. Today with Microsoft Flight Simulator, where I'm going to show you a new feature that just launched with Hangar Control version 1.2.1 that allows you to take a single device and literally turn it into as many as you want with the trip of a button. Stick around. One app designed to do it all. Hangar Control brings everything together: control bindings, hardware configuration, mod and profile management, application launching, add-ons, config files, and more, all managed from a single application. Mods Hangar goes beyond just mods and add-ons. It manages profiles, config files, text files, backups, snapshots, and helps keep your community folders clean and organized. Application Hangar launches your entire sim stack with a single click. Your Stream Decks are fully controlled through the Hangar Control plugin, while all of your other Stream Deck plugins remain active and available. Built by a simmer for simmers, Hangar Control adds new features and hardware support every week based on community feedback. It's a one-time purchase with lifetime updates, no subscriptions. You can try it for free for 5 days with no restrictions at overkillsimulations.com. Just create an account, head to your account page, download the latest version, and get started. And if you're looking for in-depth Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft tutorials, check out my Patreon site. Links to Hangar Control and Patreon are down in the description below. Alright folks, so this isn't going to be too long of a video, but for those of you who don't know what Hangar Control is, I hope you didn't skip the intro, but the idea is an all-in-one stop and shop for your simulation and gaming experience. It can do everything from controlling your mods, tools, add-ons, launching your applications based on a profile, obviously handling your control bindings, and much, much more. And it's growing every single week. And it currently supports natively Microsoft Flight Simulators 2020, 24, X-Planes 11 and 12, DCS World, and soon to be American Truck Simulator. So there's a lot still coming. But today what we're talking about is a new feature that we call device layering. What it does essentially in a handbasket is it allows you to take a device, program it, get it all bound the way you want it until all of your buttons and axes are filled up, and then you can, with a switch of a button, a trigger of a variable, whatever it may be, you can have it change layers to where all those same buttons, axes, etc. do something completely different and switch back and forth, allowing you to take one device and essentially turn it into an endless number of devices at your whim. So I'm going to show you guys a real simple explanation or example of how this works, but I promise it is far more complex than this. One of the things I do recommend that you do if you're trying this out is up here at the top, you have a documentation folder. And inside that documentation folder, you have the Hangar Control walkthrough. In the Hangar Control walkthrough, there's a full section on breaking down how to do this, as well as how to use things like Hangar Control variables, which are variables that are custom and specific to Hangar Control itself and not to your simulator or game. They are variables that you can create within the software to trigger certain events. We're going to do a little bit more simple today in today's explanation, as I'm simply going to show you how to do it with the flip of a switch. So let's go ahead and get started. As we get into this, I do want to remind everyone, if you're interested in Hangar Control, you can get a 5-day free trial or purchase it outright from overkillsimulations.com. However, be sure that regardless of which path you want to take, that you log into the website first. You need to create your account on the website first, then you can choose which path you want to go down. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do here, I have my Microsoft Flight Simulator profile set up. We're in our Cessna 172. I want to start the service to make sure everything actually gets sent to the simulator. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work with our Bravo throttle quadrant today. And this is where the magic begins. You can see up here we have a default layer and I have my test layer. But I'm going to go ahead and go into Manage Layers, which is how we would create one. I'm going to show you right off the bat how we delete one. You can simply select this and you can delete it. You can also enable and disable, import and export. So you can not only share a device anymore, but now you can actually share your particular layers with someone. Or you can back them up for later use, whichever is your preference. So we're going to hit delete. There it is. The layer is gone, close, and you can see we only have the one. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to start with a clear binding for everything here. I'm going to make sure that I've got nothing set. We're at least going to clear that. I'm going to clear that. I know what these are. These are reversers that we were doing for yesterday's video. If you guys haven't checked out the new feature that we added for reverse thrust to make binding reverse thrust significantly easier, make sure that you guys check out the video from yesterday. All right, so here we are. We're on a base blank profile. Nothing's bound to the sim. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just bind my throttle. This is the easiest way to sort of demonstrate this. Is we're going to come into our axis, we're going to select this, and this is really handy also if you want to have your axis toggle between different functions. We're going to add the basics. I'm just going to go to throttle underscore, if I can see past my microphone, set. There's throttle set, pick, set, and now when I move that throttle, you can see we got action. Now you're seeing the plane jostle around, things like that. That is because, oh, I know what's going on here. Hang on. We have the controls bound in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Give me just a second. Let me fix that. And this is how I do this every time. It's probably not the best plan, honestly. I should be doing this a bit differently, but I'm too lazy to make custom profiles for every single aircraft. So I just come in here and I deactivate everything. Hit save and back and resume. There we go. And now we can set that parking brake so the aircraft doesn't move. So as I was showing you, we have our throttle moving. Okay. Now let's say we also want this throttle. Maybe we only have one axis. Okay. Or maybe you've only got two axes and you're in a complex aircraft. Here's what we can do. What we can do is we can now go into the Bravo. I'm going to manage layers and I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to rename that layer. And let's call this mixture test. And I'll show you guys why. We're going to hit OK. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to set a condition. When do I want this layer to be active? So I'm going to set condition, and you can see we have a bunch of different options here. You can set it by LVARs, by sim variables, button state, flags, and HC custom variables. We're just going to use a button state for today to keep things simple. We're going to go to pick. We're going to use the same device, although you can pick any device that's currently connected, although it's actually, part of the profile. That's why I'm like, that's actually not connected at the moment. But we're going to stick with the Bravo, and I'm just going to pick one of our rocker switches here. So we're going to say when 34 is held. Okay, so 34 is held. That's it. That's all you got to do, and that's done. And so now we're going to switch over to the mixture test. We're going to go back to our axis. Notice that there's nothing bound here. So here we're going to add, go to our pick, and this time we're going to select mixture set. Hit OK, and hit save. And that's it. And you can do this with any button, any switch, any encoder. It doesn't matter. It's literally the way Hangar Control is seeing that second layer is as if it was a completely separate device. So we currently have the switch down. It is not held, which means that when I move the throttle, we should see the throttle axis move. Okay. So we've set our throttle, but let's say now we need to also adjust the mixture. So now I'm going to take that switch that I was telling you guys. We're going to flip it up. So here it goes, turning it on. And now when I move this same axis, we should see the mixture handle move. And there you go. Now, obviously the catch there is you have to be ready when you switch back that now your throttle is going to want to move to the same position. But let me show you how easy this is. So when we switch it, you can see that it moved. So you may have to make a quick adjustment depending on what you're doing. This is just an example that the axis worked too, and this is a nice way to change what your axis handle is doing or what a particular axis on your system is doing. But it works with everything. So now let's go back in here and let me show you something with, like, for example, the encoder. I'm not going to worry about binding all the autopilot buttons for this particular set, but we're in the mixture test right now. And by the way, I have noticed that this defaults when it opens to the added layers. I will change that to where the default layer is the go-to, and then might even add you can choose which profile is started based on the profile of aircraft you're in. But anyway, that's coming later. So now we're going to go to our counterclockwise, or this is clockwise, I think. And let's use this one for the nav. Let's do nav on this one. So on this one, we're going to go to Browse Events. And I'm going to do, I think it's OBS_nav, right? Nope. I know it's OBS. There it is. OBI, increase and decrease. I knew that I was missing something. We're going to drop that in there. Let's go back in here for the counterclockwise. OBID, oh, that was VOR. There we go. That's the one we want. Decrease. There we go. Let's test that real quick. So perfect example, right now, when we go to test this, we should not see the OBI move. Okay, there it is. I'm turning it, nothing's happening. Now when I flip that switch again, you can see it moving. It helps if I'm even looking at the right damn gauge, huh? So again, switch off, turning the encoder, nothing happens. Switch on, we get OBI activity. And so as one more just quick demo, you guys have probably caught the gist at this point, but let's go back to the initial one and let's change it to the heading bug. This is another great way if you don't have a whole bunch of conditions and things to set up to do this. So we're going to browse. This one's real easy to do, so we're just going to go heading bug increase, hit OK, go to the counterclockwise, browse, heading bug decrease. And again, watching our heading bug. Right now we're in the OBI position. So there's the OBI. Switch is off. There's our heading bug moving. Okay. So another feature that you have here is we can come in here, open that back up, and we can go to Manage Layers. And you are also able to duplicate the layer. So if you want to duplicate the layer, okay, we will rename this to just test 3, whatever, it doesn't matter. Close, go to our test 3 layer, and I can come in here and clear those bindings out. But if I go back to test 2 or mixture test, if I go back to default, and then what I'm trying to show you here, what we're illustrating is that you can, if you have a whole bunch of buttons bound, but let's say you only want to edit a few items, you can then duplicate the layer and then just go in and simply edit the ones that you want to edit, right? So it makes it very, very nice. I just realized that for whatever reason, the right click clear binding works here, but doesn't work on those two. I will have to address it. That's a bug. So again, it opens up a ton of different options. You could even go as far if you wanted to as using these. Like this, the Bravo is just an example, right? This will work with any device. The only thing that I will tell you right now is currently supported devices in Hangar Control that are not benefiting from this feature yet are any of the WinWing devices or any of the Wing Flex devices, and the X-Touch Mini does not have this yet because the X-Touch Mini has its own built-in layer and bank system. So it already has essentially this same feature where you can easily swap between different layers. Okay, so that has not been implemented as of yet for the X-Touch Mini, the WinWing devices, and the Wing Flex devices. But everything else is set and ready to roll. This will make it very, very easy to really customize the crap out of your layers. And you're also able to move the layers up and down if you wish, if you want to change the sequence. Okay, it makes it really nice, and it's really going to open up a lot of binding options for you. For your simulation experience. You can literally change what just about anything can do at the flip of a button, at the drop of a variable, right? And that variable can be, example, a Microsoft Flight Simulator variable. So another example of where this would be really handy is in something like DCS World. Let's say you're really limited on your controls. You have a HOTAS and you have a flight stick, maybe some rudder pedals, that's it. Well, we all know in DCS World, things get even more intense because you have, not just managing the aircraft as far as startup, taxi, takeoff, landing, navigation, but you also have obviously all the combat stuff that goes with it. Okay, so what you could essentially do is you could have one profile that is built right around starting your aircraft up. Again, that's those same features, startup, landing, takeoff, right? The basic navigation stuff. And then you could have a button where you press the button and it changes the layer. And now all of those buttons are now set for your combat build. They all do something in regard to your combat systems. Okay, and we just got landed on, I'm pretty sure, by an airplane. And then even for Microsoft Flight Simulator, same kind of thing. If you're limited, let's say, you want to set a variable where once your aircraft is, say, 500 feet AGL, okay, you're going up, right? You're climbing out. It switches to a navigation mode or whatever you build as a in-flight mode or an in-flight profile. And then you can have another variable where it says when your aircraft descends below, I don't know, 300, and these are pretty low. I would set these a bit higher if I were you. But let's say you set 300 AGL, okay? Then once that variable is detected, the profile will automatically switch down to your landing takeoff configuration, so that way all of your controls can get you safely to the ground. It's a really powerful system. There's still a lot more to come with it. And of course, if you guys run into any bugs or issues, please join the Discord. A link to my Discord is in the description of every single one of my videos. Come chat with me, come hang out, but make sure that you use the bugs and issues forum if you do run into an issue. General chat is great to engage the community, but as far as me direct, if you're looking for something that you definitely want me to see, please use the forum channels, because I am the only one who can remove them. So once you post it, the only person who can see it is me. Okay? Or remove it, excuse me, is me. So I guarantee I'm going to see it. All right? So that's just a quick demo, guys. I know that's short and sweet. Again, the documentation has been updated. And I do hope that you guys enjoy this feature and consider purchasing Hangar Control and supporting my work. Also, be sure to join the Discord if you want to bring up feature requests. So many, I cannot stress this, so many of the features that now exist in Hangar Control came from you. It came from you guys popping into the Discord, talking to me, giving me a feature that you want to see in action. There were multiple features. This is actually one of them. This feature was brought up by a user. Okay, it took about 3 weeks to get it up and running, actually a little bit longer than that, but we finally got it up and working. So, as always, folks, you know the drill. Stay safe and healthy, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care, friends.